A used Ram is either the best truck you will ever own or the most expensive mistake sitting in your driveway, and the difference usually comes down to the stuff the seller is praying you never look at. I have torn these trucks apart for 20 years, so here are the 11 things I check first. Number 1, death wobble. And this one is only on the heavy-duty trucks, the 2500 and the 3500 with the solid front axle. The 1500 has a different front end, so it shakes in a normal, annoying way, not a terrifying way. Let me tell you what death wobble actually is. You hit a bump or an expansion joint on the highway at around 45 to 60 miles per hour, and the whole front end starts violently shaking side to side, so hard you cannot read the road signs. I had a customer roll in with a lifted 2500 on big tires, white-knuckled, convinced the front axle was about to fall out. It was a worn track bar bushing, a $20 part giving the man a heart attack. So on the test drive, take it over rough pavement at highway speed on purpose. If you feel any shimmy starting, walk. And if you see a brand new steering stabilizer bolted on, ask why, because that is the part people slap on to hide it. But a shaking front end at least has the decency to warn you it is there. The next one does not. It hides behind the engine, it bleeds you slow, and half the time the seller does not even know it is dying. Number 2. The transmission, and specifically the 68 RFE automatic behind the Cummins diesel. This transmission has been holding back a motor that makes way more torque than it was built for since the day it was born. You guys ask me about it in the comments all the time. The first sign it is dying is a shudder. So on the test drive, get the truck up to a steady cruise, go light on the throttle, and feel for a vibration like you are driving over rumble strips that are not there. That is the torque converter. Next comes slipping, where the engine revs but the truck does not pull. A properly built rebuild on one of these runs anywhere from $4,500 to well over $10,000 if you want it done right. The short version is, smell the fluid. If it is dark and smells burnt, that truck has been trying to tell its owner something for a while. But not every money pit on a Ram is mechanical. Some of them are built into the emissions system from the factory. Number 3, the EcoDiesel, that little 3.0 V6 diesel they put in the 1500 from 2014 to 2019. On paper, it is a dream, around 30 miles per gallon in a full-size truck. In real life, the early ones have two parts that love to fail. The EGR cooler can crack and leak coolant, and there is an oil cooler that fails and mixes the oil and the coolant together, which can wipe out the bottom of the engine. So pop the hood, pull the oil cap, and look for that nasty milkshake of oil and coolant mixed together. Give it a sniff for coolant, then check the service records to see if those parts were already replaced. Owners actually sued over the emissions and won, so there is money on the table. That means you want to run the VIN before you buy. A well-kept later EcoDiesel can go 300,000 miles easy. An ignored early one can hand you a $4,000 repair before you even get it home. But if a leaking oil cooler scares you, wait until you hear what Ram did to the big Cummins in 2019. Number 4, and this is the big one. The fuel pump on the 2019 and 2020 heavy-duty trucks with the 6.7 Cummins. For those 2 years, Ram switched to a high-pressure fuel pump called the CP4, and I will say it plainly. Putting that pump on the Cummins was one of the dumbest decisions in modern diesel history. When this pump fails, it does not just quit on you. It eats itself and sends metal shavings through every injector, every line, and into the tank at 26,000 pounds of pressure. I had one of these towed into the shop, ran a magnet through the fuel filter, and it came out covered in glitter. That is a $10,000 fuel system, sometimes more. Now there is a recall to swap that pump for the older bulletproof design, so before you buy a 2019 or 2020 Cummins, check that recall against the VIN and make sure it is actually done, not just available. Ram went back to the good pump in 2021, and that says it all. But a Ram does not need a blown engine to leave you stranded. Sometimes it is one little box of electronics. Number 5. The electrical brain. Ram calls it the Totally Integrated Power Module, the TIPM. On a lot of trucks from roughly 2006 to 2012, this box runs everything. And when it starts going bad, the symptoms make you feel like the truck is haunted. You get wipers turning on by themselves, a horn honking with nobody in the truck, and the classic one, a fuel pump that runs constantly, even with the key out of the ignition, slowly draining your battery overnight. There is a free test for this. After the truck has been sitting a while, walk to the back, put your ear near the bed, and listen. If you hear a faint buzzing back there with the truck completely off, that is the fuel pump still running, and that box is on its way out. A no start that comes and goes is the other tell. So if the seller swears it always starts right up, but it took 3 tries in the driveway, that is your answer right there. Real quick, if this is saving you from a bad truck, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you know. All right then. Therefore, with the electronics sorted, here is one that literally leaves the truck lying on the ground. Number 6. The air suspension. Some 1,500 trucks came with a 4-corner AIR ride system instead of regular springs, and I personally think airbags belong on a luxury sedan, not a work truck. It rides great right up until it does not. The bags leak, the compressor burns out trying to keep up, and you walk out one morning to find one corner of your truck sitting on the ground like a sad dog. So here is the move when you go look at one. Tell the seller not to start it or mess with the ride height before you get there. If it has been sitting overnight and it is still sitting level, good. If one corner is dumped down low, that system is leaking. Listen for a compressor that runs and never shuts off. A full repair climbs toward $3,000 at a dealer. A lot of owners just rip the whole thing out and put real springs back in, which tells you exactly how much they love it. But the most expensive thing on a used diesel is not a part at all. It is a decision the last owner already made for you. Number 7. The deleted diesel. And this one is going to start an argument in the comments, which is fine by me. A deleted truck is one where somebody ripped out the emissions equipment, the EGR, the diesel particulate filter, the DEF system, and tuned it to run without any of it. The truck makes great power and the owner will swear it runs amazing, but it is also illegal to drive on the road in all 50 states. And the government can fine you tens of thousands of dollars per truck, and you inherit all of it. You can fail inspection, you can be unable to register it, and good luck ever trading it in at a dealer. So get down and look underneath. If the exhaust is one straight pipe and the DEF tank and the filter are gone, that is a deleted truck. I do not care how good it sounds. Unless you are getting the original parts in a box along with it, I would walk. You are buying somebody else's legal headache. Therefore, once you clear the big stuff, it is the small annoying things that nickel and dime you. And Ram has a few signature ones. Number 8, the clicking dash and the bubbling dashboard, 2 different Ram quirks living in the same place. First, if you are sitting in the truck and you hear a rapid clicking, almost like a tiny machine gun coming from behind the dash or the glove box, that is a blend door actuator failing. The easy ones are a $40 part, but the one buried deep behind the dash takes hours of labor to even reach, so you want to figure out which one is clicking. Second, on the newer trucks, 2019 and up, especially the loaded ones with the leather dash, the top of the dashboard literally bubbles up and peels apart in the sun, and Ram has pretty much refused to pay to fix it. So run the heat and the air conditioning through every setting and make sure both sides actually get hot and cold. Then run your hand across the top of the dash and look for any lifting. Neither one will strand you, but they will drive you up a wall. But before you fall for a truck, there is one check that has nothing to do with how it drives. Number 9. The recalls, and one in particular. Between 2013 and 2018, Ram recalled around 800,000 heavy-duty trucks for a steering linkage problem, where a part called the drag link could come loose and basically let go of your steering. Picture that on a loaded truck at 70 miles per hour. And there were follow-up recalls after the first fix was not done right on some of them, so this one is not optional. Run the VIN through the free government recall site and make sure every safety recall is actually done, not just listed. A ton of used trucks have recalls the previous owner never bothered to take care of, and a free safety repair becomes your problem the second you sign the title. I have watched people skip this step on a truck they were otherwise really smart about. 5 minutes on your phone in the seller's driveway tells you whether the steering is going to try to kill you. But here is the one buyers skip the most because it is boring, and it is the one that quietly eats the truck alive. Number 10. Rust. But not the rust you are thinking of. Sure, you check the rocker panels and the cab corners. The Ram-specific killer is hiding in the bed. On the older trucks, especially the 2003 to 2008 body style, there is a hidden seam up above the rear wheel inside the bed wall where two pieces of metal are sealed together. Dirt and road salt pack into that seam and rot the bedside from the inside out, so the paint looks perfectly fine right up until you can poke a screwdriver clean through it. So get back there and look behind the wheel arch, inside the bed, and along the bottoms of the doors. On the newer trucks, I have seen lease returns under 30,000 miles already bubbling around the rear wheels. A rotten bed is not a quick fix. It is the kind of thing that quietly turns a good deal into a parts truck. So do not let a shiny tailgate distract you from the bed it is bolted to. But rust is the slow, quiet killer that creeps up on you. So let me leave you with the loud one. The big one. The one you have all been waiting for me to get to. Number 11. The Hemi tick. And I am leaving this one for the very end. This is the noise that decides whether a Hemi truck is the best money you ever spent or a $5,000 disaster sitting in your driveway. And it is the question I get more than any other. But it is way too big to toss off in a few rushed seconds here at the end of a list. This one has to be walked through properly, so I gave it its very own video and broke the whole thing down here.